some fucking dogs out here in Aussie, I tell you. I don't want to get mauled by a dog. Oi. They've got some fucking dogs in Aussie. That's an old one. Not much of a sunrise. Alright, it's a big fucking dog. But doesn't look dangerous to humans. It's gonna shit, it must feel good. dog's got his eye on me now, and he's heard my didgeridoo. He's looking right at me. I'm many things, but a man to drink coffee out of a cup this small, I am not. But I'll do it anyway. Little update on me and my life. After we had a bedtime story, Zen story, that was quite good. I don't know if anyone was there, tuned in, or had the opportunity to listen to it beforehand, or afterhand, or handless. I took a good sleep. I woke up and I got myself into the Jimjibong, into the hot springs here in the caravan park. So I took a good, long, hot shower. And I would say there's 3 levels of showering, eh? One level is you fucking don't shower. Maybe you're a desert dweller, you don't shower. Level 2 is you've never taken a fucking bath. You don't know the value of having a bathtub. That's a low fucking level. Level 3, you know how to take a bath. That means you know how to shower. If you don't know how to take a bath, you don't know how to shower, mate. The South Koreans got it figured out. And I tell you, by the water pressure and the water temperature here in the caravan park, the Australians in the bush got something figured out as well. At least the ones that have been running this caravan park. It's not just for your body. It's also a shower for your mind. And that's just some personal crockery for you. Just some personal crockery for you. The great thing about being a homeless, schizophrenic beggar. Good morning, today is a morning time.
We're all going on a journey to nowhere, taking it easy, taking it slow. No more worries, no need to hurry, nothing to carry. Let it all go, let it all go.
So we're for sure, unless a disaster strike's going to arrive at the Aboriginal park, the Aboriginal campout today.
Her cafe, ma? Her cafe? Mmm. I think I'm a right candidate for the Plum Village, or some for the Thich Nhat Hanh.
Dear,
for his cult.
you've got
I'm right.
a centre 1 hour from your house,
I know.
and it's full of young and old Vietnamese Buddhist nuns.
I know.
You can go every Sunday. You can go regularly.
I know. And you
You
know
can
what?
join the retreat.
I know. It costs money, but that's okay.
It's a little bit, but it's not too
Yeah.
much. It's not just the
No.
cost to go there.
No, I know. But I'm really interested in the chanting. I didn't even have to leave my house, because at 5:30 every morning they do a live stream chanting session for an hour and a half. So I'm just going to start there. And because I just feel such an affinity with the chanting. I don't even know what it is. Like yesterday when I was just feeling, I was really struggling. My eyes were, you know when you're driving for a long time, your eyes start to like get all fuzzy and then my heart was just like, I could see the mountains and I could feel the energy of the land and how big it was and how small I was, and I was just like getting over myself and sort of, you know when you look at something and it's so vast you feel insignificant? Well anyway, I was feeling that. But then and then I needed the chanting or some music or something to give me a boost, and then you put on that
Brahmananda Sarupa Isha Akilananda Sarupa Isha Maheja.
for like eternity, and I just wanted, that was just like one of the best moments in my life. I was healed. I was healed. I was healed.
The people who think that marijuana is very good for meditation are people who don't care to know what meditation really is, what meditation is really about.
You know what that, sorry to interrupt. That
How dare you interrupt me at this
No,
time of the
I
morning?
know. But I just remembered that Thich Nhat Hanh, it's a nunnery, and it's called the Stream Enterers. That's their name. You know how they each have like Plum Village, and they're all called that. There's a Stream Enterers.
And it's just a 30-minute drive from your house,
I
so
know.
you're
No,
gonna
it's an
go
hour,
soon.
but that's okay. That's an hour. Anyway, sorry. Enough about me. It's all about me. There is no me.
It's auspicious, all right? You're in the middle of fucking nowhere in Australia, and you got a nunnery with 20, 30, 40 nuns.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So you're gonna get some good energy there.
It's moments like that with the chanting, and it's like I know it, somehow I know it. It's when I'm having a moment where it's like a past life thing, you know, and it's just like, this is something that's been happening before. I've been referring to you in my mind as our fearless leader.
That's right.
I'm like, where's our fearless leader?
That's right. Well, Tony, it just goes to show how ignorant and stupid you are in a certain way. So, not in all ways, of course. I'm sure, Tony, you have a lot of good qualities, but in terms of anything to do with spirituality, you know, you're undeveloped, untrained, unmatured. And then we make a lot of assumptions. So this, if you actually had the spiritual eye, you'd be able to see that this cloak is pure virgin Australian wool. I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. Turn the comments off, Kai Rasa. I mean, that's what I recommend. I recommend to have the comments turned off. Taum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, ranza samungate soha, te ataum bekanze, bekanze, maha bekanze, ranza samungate soha. Medicine Buddha mantra. I think that a lot of people they're limiting their potentiality too much. They haven't been taught about the scope of the mind that they're currently dealing with. That's why I get frustrated sometimes with some young people who troll, because I know that going along that way, there's no development that's going to come out of that. Like their perspective or their sense of awe or their sense of profundity is never going to open up, because society doesn't facilitate the opening of that. So, like your mind, or call it your brain if that's what you want to call it, is creating all of this. All the colors, all the sounds, all the story, all the experiences. All the happenings are happenings created by the mind. And how much horsepower is this? How much power is this to not be wasted and to be careful about and to be cultivated and nurtured and made use of? You know what I mean? Like you can literally imagine anything. You can literally imagine anything just as real as this, as quote unquote real life. So with you, this is one of the techniques that you can utilize. You just get your pail or your bowl or your ladle or whatever with the water, and then you're going to give a blessing. You're going to give the blessing of everything or forgiveness or irrelevance The blessing of irrelevance is the forgiveness of attachment to things in that moment. So you're opening out, you're widening out. And then you just take that and you just so that entire time, you're pouring yourself out, you're pouring your attachment out, your attachment to things and your attachment to things, you're opening, widening, you're widening all the way out. That's better than screaming, that's a better technique, because you're blessing and you're releasing. And they do that, I mean, the temple in Thailand, Wat Ram Bodhi Dham, which, I think about those places, but they have like water bottles they keep in the trucks and in the cars, so then they pull over on the side of the road or whatever, and they do the water blessing. And it's also a time of generosity, because it's not just about you, you're also blessing the spirits. You are just as real as a comic book character, as a movie character, as Aaron Brockovich. You know Aaron Brockovich, right? More than me, I don't even know what that's about, or as real as a tree. So there's all these spirits, seen and unseen, angelic spirits or holy spirits, demonic spirits, but that it's in terms of faith, concerned with the path of enlightenment, not concerned with talking about spirits. So we're talking about spirits here in terms of giving the ending, giving the blessing for them. That's the point. It's not, well, what is this spirit, what's that spirit? That's for, people who aren't having to deal with themselves to think about, or just lunatics, And that's one of the things that some of the trolls or some of the people in that wavelength maybe don't really get or don't understand, is that there's a depth, there's a profundity here that hopefully is as much profundity as you can get out of life. Because when we're, if we just live a normal life as a normal American or a normal person, we're not going to have undergone much specific or wisdom-informed or enlightenment-informed meditation. And I'm not talking about me versus you, I'm talking about Buddhism, I'm talking about Princeton, I'm talking about Cambridge, I'm talking about Oxford. This institution of Buddhism that is like what the Aboriginals are to the native lands of Australia. What did the Aboriginals call it? Why are we calling it Australia? What was that?
They had different names for different.
A bunch of different names, right? Different regions and stuff. They didn't think about it like that, because it's an island, right? So what the Aboriginals are to Australia, Buddhism is to being concerned with enlightenment. As a school of philosophy, as a school of practice, as a school of community, it's not white-based. Even though there's been a lot of cultural appropriation by white people in terms of Buddhism in different degrees, different, armchair Buddhists. But that's not what I'm talking about here. And you can always call in on WhatsApp and contact if you need some help or some support or anything like that. I don't think you saw this last night. This is a woman who's like, she's a little bit, I wouldn't call her, but anyways.
It's my birthday today, November 14, 2025. I'm 57. November 14, 2025. Hello, Rob. It's Emma in London. Have a great day. It's watching Rob. It's funny.
She's been following me like this and making videos like this
look at you with
for
your guru hat on.
more than a
No
year.
way.
2 years, 3 years.
Oh my. Oh, it's on your trip. What? Is it your birthday?
It was her, no, it was her birthday,
her
so
birthday.
she made a donation
To Rob.
and she
That
sent
is
this.
$1 million. If you want Rob happy, you have to donate $1 million.
At the beginning, I was a little bit uncomfortable, but I'll be honest, she's becoming a beautiful woman to me.
Totally.
Yeah, but it's been for years, she's been making videos and things like that. So, yeah, she is. She's really nice lady.
Wow, what a gift.
Mm.
Oh, that's so, I'm sad. That makes me sad.
Yeah,
She's so beautiful.
yeah.
Ah. Something wrong with a little bit of hero worship.
Yeah.
But her husband seemed down with it. Wow.
Well, that's the thing, Drew. You know, whether you're being genuine or not, this is not all about you. You see what I'm saying? So your genuineness or lack of genuineness is just on you. But in terms of this case or this comment of, I've been to the edge of the soil and met the God of life, witnessed mythical creatures, this is all just stupid retard stuff. So you're welcome to be here sharing that, but in terms of there being any authority there or relevance there concerned with the path that's being taught here or shared here or open to here, that's all retard shit. So it's okay, it's cool. I mean, there's nothing bad with being retarded. It's just not, that's just not what this is about. So spiritually, I'm saying spiritually retarded. And people with disabilities said that that word isn't appropriate for them. You know what I mean? So when I say retarded, I'm not talking about people with disabilities.
In Australia, they had a campaign run by people with
Disabilities? That's
Yeah,
the
but
correct
it was-
term. The
it's-
correct,
No, but this
or
one-
differently abled maybe, but people
Yeah.
with disabilities is a standard as well.
Yeah, it was against the term disability. It said, and their catchphrase was "Don't diss my ability."
Yeah, don't diss my abilities. So
Mm.
that's the ableist
Yeah.
informed.
Mm.
But you know, people with disabilities or people with varying abilities. See, that's the right way to say it, right? We
Yeah,
all have varying
that's
abilities.
exactly right.
People with varying abilities are one of the largest minority groups in the world. Did you know that? Like the top minority group in America and probably in Australia.
Oh, you're right.
But normal people hate that because it's one of those things that brings us back to our infanticide culture. Very deep roots of saying this person needs to be supported to live in some way. So, well, what do? If you got scarce resources, look behind you, dear.
Little bird.
So it's very uncomfortable, but, you know, and I've worked in group homes. You know, and it's heavy stuff. It's deep stuff because those people have been institutionalized and abused and crazified by the worst people. You know, the turnover rate for laborers, for people with disabilities, is like 50% every 6 months or every year or more. So you've just got this cycle of low wage workers coming in and going out. And then at least in America, the institution itself is run like a business. So every person with a disability gets a number put on their head from the government. And then you've got these private contractors that come in and kind of try to recruit and gather these people with disabilities and then give them the lowest amount of treatment, which is especially, see, direct care workers and people who need care are very easy to be aligned because if the direct care workers have a fair pay and a real pay, they can actually make that their career, improving or supporting the life of people with varying abilities. So it's really passionate work, but once you start to try and get involved with it, that's when everything falls apart because you see how dark it is, you see how hopeless it is. You know, and it's one thing to go from the racism to the sexism, but it's a whole other thing to go towards the ableism.
That inspires me to share something.
All right.
I re-educated when I was, a few years ago, from clowning to, I did a qualification in community services anyway, and then I worked with these people that we're referring to, but I call them, I would always say I work with people that have complex medical and health needs.
That's good too.
Yeah, that was my term because I didn't sort of feel comfortable. And I worked in residential care. So my shifts were 18 hours long and I pretty much lived, I was basically one of their housemates. So that living with people like that, that was my normal. So in my life, like I would just, we'd go for walks and to the movies and all kinds of stuff, and some of them would be headbanging and or trying to beat me up, or all kinds of like what they call behaviours of concern, and everyone in public that always, I don't really notice people looking because I've kind of dressed differently a lot, but sometimes it comes through. But people would be, I remember one time I was walking with one of my friends and his pants fell down and he had like he had an aid on, and
An aid.
They don't call them like nappies or.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They call it an aid.
Yeah.
And his pants fell down and then his aid came off. Oh, he pulled his aid off, and then I was like bending over in front of him trying to fix it, and he was hitting me over the head, and we were in the middle of like the street. I was like, yeah. But that was to me, that was nothing, I was just like, this is normal. All you guys are weird, and I spent 3.5 years with that organization called Asteria in Maryborough, and I'm calling them out because I left, actually the first time I got terminated because I refused to take the jab, and so they terminated my services.
You're an anti-vaxxer.
I'm a pro.
But you're not vaccinated. Not sure, right? Not said to say either way.
Well,
not a proud anti-vaxxer for sure.
I am. Well, I'm not anti anything because I feel like that's like a negative. I want to be sort of positive, so I'm like pro-choice in a way. Like
okay, pro-choice.
They always say what pisses me off? They say my body, my choice, but then they'll like get the jab, and I'm just like fucking. Fuck you. Yeah. That really pisses me off. But anyway, that's not another subject.
Yeah.
I'll finish what I'm saying in regards to working with people with complex medical health needs. So there are a lot of carers who were just riding the gravy train, you know, because we were getting like pretty good money. Like on a Sunday night, I would do a shift, I'd get like, you know, $700.
Fuck all, mate.
For one shift, you know, and because of the penalties and the, you know, all this stuff. And anyway, I was doing it not for the money, but because like I would do it for free because I've been a humanitarian and I've never worked a day in my life. But some of the carers, they were just, you know, obviously in it just to pay their bills, and a lot of them were sort of been in that organisation for over a decade. Peace, morning. And don't mind me. I'm just sharing a story if that's okay. And then
Change of weather, isn't it, stupid?
Yeah, it is.
Dude,
Yeah, damn stupid.
did you get wet in the rain?
Pardon?
Did you get wet? We
When?
had a few drops. We got blessed by the rain.
Last night.
Yeah, last night.
Did it rain last night?
Yeah, I was swagging out in the bushes and I got a few drops and the
Oh,
ground
right.
was wet. Yeah, we got blessed by the rain.
Ah, I didn't know it rained. I
Yeah.
felt the cold wind.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a window open and thought, yeah, something going on, so.
Yeah.
But you got a caravan.
Huh?
You got a caravan.
Yeah, over there.
You're glamping.
Oh, better go.
Okie dokes. Anyway, I'll finish my story because it's pretty full on what happened.
So you were what?
I was working for this organisation, Asteria, and the first time I got terminated, but then I went back. My sister moved to town and she started working for them, and then I went back because I was like, oh, give it another go. And this time I lasted a year, and then I put in a complaint of a human rights violation against another employee, and a complaint of abuse against one of the clients, or they call them participants, because she was non-verbal and they would just you know, medicate her, and this particular staff member, she would call her a bitch. She'd like shut up, bitch, because she would carry on, which is fine, and do crazy things. Like she'd bang her head until there was like she had like a gash in her head that was just like, I would just be cleaning blood off everything. But
Because she'd be self-harming?
yeah, because you know why though? She was non-verbal, but I could feel like she would do it when she was upset, or a new staff member came in, or someone didn't come in that she wanted to come in. It was her way of, you know, they were communicating, but some
Some people
staff
say
members-
autistic people are psychic.
yeah.
Now you're
well,
getting into a whole other realm
yeah.
of...
Well, to me, like I love working with people who are non-verbal. I like the really hardcore sort of behaviours of concern. That's my jam, because I have an affinity somehow with those kinds of people. I feel like I can communicate and can see what. Anyway, that's something I want to go into maybe again. I don't know. I'm not sure. But anyway, I put this complaint in. I followed all the correct channels. I don't respect the hierarchy, but I respect the process. And I did it. I went through my team leader, kept, you know, I recorded it, all the incidents, everything, did it all. And then, do you know what happened?
You got fired, eh?
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I quit in the end because the boss, the CEO of the organization, because I got so pissed off of no one doing anything. In the end, I just went, fuck this. It was like 2 months. 2 fucking months, and I'm like writing emails. Is anyone going to follow up on this? Is anyone going to follow up on this? No one did. And so I wrote this because I can be really technical and, you know, look, I I'm a bit silly, but I'm not dumb. So I wrote this legal letter and put it just basically just put all the points and the legalities of it, and I printed it out and I put it on the CEO's desk, just like a ticking time bomb. And she came in, obviously read it, and then called me in for a meeting. And I went in the meeting, and she turned it all back around on me, and then interviewed all the staff, and all the staff members turned on me and said I was the problem. And you know what their complaints were against me? One of them was singing and dancing.
There you go.
And I was like, are you fucking serious? So I quit. I went, fuck you. But I was having really bad anxiety from that too. It was horrible. I was nearly throwing up. I was going to work and nearly throwing up because I was and so I had to quit, and that's the last time I went off and spent the last 2 years working with elderly people.
Yeah, elderly can be more easy.
Yeah.
But you got to get them young. The thing with these sensitive people is that part of their nature is that the society is not open to them. So even though parents might have a good idea of being with their kids in a good way, unless they have a certain kind of training or sensitivity or openness, they're going to be trying to force program them in a way that doesn't align with their experience. And that creates a lot of trauma. Just in general, forced education makes a lot of trauma.
You mean in general get people while they're young?
Well, yeah, because it takes a village to raise people, so when you have parents that are raising a differently abled young person, and they have all these expectations that aren't being met, they're kind of trying to force their kids into a box, and they don't have the resources. And anyway, nothing is ideal. I'm gonna go take a look at the bush. Enjoy your breakfast.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I've been talking about recently, it's really a matter of knowing how to listen deeply and how to share deeply. Are autistic people psychic? Are schizophrenic people psychic? Are anxious people psychic? Are depressed people psychic? Are kangaroos psychic? What does it mean to be psychic? What's our culture? What is the white culture? And really, it's a culture of genocide. So, we can kind of laugh and giggle about winning the fight, winning the war against brown people, but it's not a good way to live your life, especially when the war's over. So you just get the idea, well, now I guess it's time to drink and smoke and live an enjoyable life, but there's something missing in that. What about gay people? Are gay people psychic? So it's not about hearing what you want to hear or being entertained. It's got nothing to do with that. And some people, we say, oh, they're just talking on and on. But that's what you do too. When you've got something that you're interested in, or you've got something that you've experienced. This isn't a matter of luck. There's no such thing as luck. It's a matter of blessings. And one of the key points of this culture is appropriation. Taking ownership for that which is not owned. And that's not just land and properties and this thing and that thing. It's also ideas, beliefs, authority over meditation, authority over Buddhism, authority over spirituality. It's very, very problematic. So like the modern wave of Western spirituality is very much a wave of appropriation and false authority based on ease of access to making yourself feel special or making yourself feel important. Fucking cold as. It's not about luck. Luck is a kind of nonsense, stupid nonsense. No such thing as luck. But things do happen. So this idea of luck is a way to exploit others. Exploit the what if quality of the self and the ego and selfishness in general. That a lot of what we have to say or a lot of what we might think is irrelevant. You know, and that you have to kind of take that bitter medicine of irrelevance. Purpose has everything to do with meaningful experiences in community. Without meaningful experiences in community, you will never have purpose in your life, for sure. And how do you become a part of community, or how do you connect with community? Through generosity, through a willingness to help, a willingness to serve. But all communities aren't created equal. Equality is just another sales pitch for capitalism and justifying genocide. So the intention here is to, build and establish community for the long term, and to help give people who are willing to self-sacrifice the resources to be in community, physically, mentally, however far they want to take it. But when our primary relationship with meaning is coffee and cigarettes, that's going to be a big problem. That's never really going to lead you anywhere. It's not informed by wisdom. It's not concerned with wisdom. It's not concerned with helping others. You see what I'm saying? So in the context of being involved with community, all right, you smoke some smoko or you drink some coffee, all right. But when that becomes a source of meaning, or like the wellspring of meaning for you in your life, the next is wine and weed, and how deep can you go into that? It has nothing to do with what it's okay to do. If you're the king, or if you're in control, if you have the biggest weapon, it's okay for you to do whatever you want to fucking do. It's okay for you to kill people. It's okay for you to maim people. It's okay for you to rape Aboriginals if you're the king, or to rape black people in America if you're the slave owner, then that's okay. So it doesn't mean anything that it's okay to do something. because there's no absolute law about what's good and bad. There's no absolute law about what's okay and what's not okay. It's a human situation. It's a human context. And so pretending to be this God-like arbiter of what's okay and what's not okay, just through this kind of vague belief about what seems to be good and seems to be bad, it might work in your house, but it's not going to work in community. And then we're trying to defend this idea of our absolute authority with whatever words we can clobber up together. And then when that doesn't work, we say, oh, that person's wrong. And we go back to watching stupid YouTube videos and masturbating or whatever it is that we do. And so a very important point is that it's not about talking about it. Communication is not talking about it. You can't just go talking to people that you don't know what their experience is, you can't even hear their voice, you can't even see them, and now somehow it's important for you to talk to them about something important. These people are phantoms. These people are irrelevant to you in your life. It's endless rabbit holes, 100%, endless rabbit holes. So what are you really looking for? What are you really seeking for? Modern problem is that we don't have elders. We don't believe in elders. We believe in bosses. We don't even believe in parents. Because once your parents are too old to take care of themselves, you put them in a fucking prison. If you're lucky, if you got the money to do it. So it is very interesting. And then in the midst of all that, we are going to die. We are going to get sick. We are going to pass away. But modern people have no real relationship with community. I mean, it's got to be like 1% that have real, meaningful experiences with community growing up. Like, have you, as a person, as an American, have you ever been around groups of women? Have you ever been around groups of men? And the answer for 99% of people isn't just no, it's the very notion of being around groups of men or groups of women in any kind of communal setting that's based on having deep and meaningful communal experiences together just doesn't have anything to do with our lives as Western people or modern people. So then we have all these people that have never been through rites of passage, have never become an adult according to a community. They've never been respected. They've never really shown respect to anyone else, except in this vague way of showing up at Thanksgiving and overeating and drinking and forcing kids to hug you and watching TV and watching movies, and that's fine. But that's not what's needed for human beings. We have to go through rites of passage. We have to go through ceremony. We have to go through being raised up and being reared by a community, a tribe, not just a family, but a tribe. And this can sound quite, like a platitude or quite vague, but that's because our Western experience of being in community is platitudinal and vague. When's the last time you were in community? Well, I guess it was the last time I was at the gas station because I saw fucking Billy Bob there and he talked to me about his IBS and the fucking corn. Well, it's built on a mutually shared experience of trauma, or it's built on our capacity to consume. So that's not real community, In these days, sometimes you have grandparents that aren't even involved with the children. with the parents' children or the children's children. So it's not that those people aren't welcome here, it's just that they're here to be ignored. They're here to learn. They're here to listen. They're not here to have some kind of vague, random position of authority that they've given themselves. It's got nothing to do with that at all. And then you tell that to those people and they're confused. Why would you have a position of authority over what's going on here when you don't know anything about what's going on here? So drop the importance that you're giving to your own thoughts. They are not welcome here. They're irrelevant here, generally. And if you want to make a big difference or make a difference at all, then make a donation. Make a donation of actually listening deeply. Make a donation of sharing deeply. Nothing else matters besides this moment as it is right here and right now, directly in a non-thought-based way. So for most people, we are trying to move the metric from a debate to a discussion. But here, there's no discussion. There's no equality here. This is a teaching sermon. This is a guided meditation. This is an instruction from a meditation master concerned with enlightenment. Very important that we know how to not read the comments. It's very important that we know how to not reject thoughts, but to totally ignore the thinking process. Just let it happen. Thoughts come and thoughts go. It's even like in modern culture where this quote-unquote attention seeking is somehow wrong. Why is that? Because we're bad parents. Because we don't know how to raise children in the modern American system, the modern Western system. We're very fucking bad parents. America is full of shitty ass parents. The Western world is full of shitty ass parents. It's good to seek attention. But it's meaningful attention. It's deep attention. It's attention that's concerned with helping others or freeing ourselves from suffering. You know, if you really start to think about how bad most parents are, not in terms of them being evil, but just in terms of their lack of skill or lack of depth in any meaningful way, you know, your heart will explode or dissolve into miserableness. Yeah, Thomas, this is not about you. This is not a conversation between me and you. Learn to be more respectful. You're not in a position to tell anybody here what to do. People are weak and they don't have access to strength. They're looking for the next Andrew Tate, and you can't even find an Andrew Tate, so you're just, whatever entertainment you can come across is enough for you, because that's all you have access to, is entertainment. And all of these years of neuroplasticity and openness and vulnerability to learning and connecting with elders was replaced or filled up with a bullshit education system full of untrained teachers. Oh, Thomas, you're just a punk. You're weak. You're unmatured. I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. You're just some random person leaving comments talking about fucking Eckhart Tolle, telling people that you don't know and that don't know you to listen to Eckhart Tolle. I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. You're just some punk, some young punk. So, and not just that, but you're a young punk who's coming here and stealing and expecting to be respected. Exactly, you're making up your reality, and that's not what you should do. Also, like this idea that people like get someone to react or like rage bait, and then they start masturbating. Yeah, I mean, people react, man. We're human beings. What are we supposed to all pretend that we're nonchalant 6'5" dreadheads outside the club picking up, 20, 30 numbers or something like that? It doesn't make any sense. He was affected. Oh! And that's also why I get frustrated with, trolls or, retards that come into the live chat. It's not because I'm not inviting you to come here. You're welcome to come here and be retarded. The thing is just you're being stupid as well. And you're not that stupid. It's like when people came in recently and said, they say, "Oh, are you gay? Are you LGBTQ because I'm wearing like a rainbow shirt or whatever?" It's just, it's not that I'm agitated by random people coming in and saying that. I'm agitated by you coming in and saying that because it's such a low tier meme. It's so stupid. You know what I mean? Yes, you are retarded. You are a retard for sure, but you're not stupid. So it's like, read the room or read the dude that you're trying to troll or whatever. Clearly, I couldn't put into words how little I care if I'm wearing a rainbow shirt or not. He reacted. Oh, I got him. And so you're putting yourself in like the stupidest, lowest position of you getting off because someone is reacting to you. And it's a good mantra to meditate on. I am retarded. I am definitely retarded. I am 100% definitely retarded. That would be the mantra that I'd give a lot of people if they came and joined one of my meditation retreats, like the one that we're on right now. I am definitely, fully, 100% retarded in a very deep way. And just repeat that mantra. I've got nothing against trolls. I love trolls. I love trolling, even though that's kind of a vague thing. It's just maybe there's a conversation that can be had here rather than just, I'm fucking a retard, I'm a fucking stupid retard. It's like, yes, I already know that you're retarded. Even if you came here and tried to say something that came deeply from yourself, I would know for sure that you're retarded. But I'm saying, okay, that's already established for sure. I already know that, and you're getting to know that by being with me, right? But nobody has to come here and be stupid. You know, this is an example of health and wealth. You're not wealthy. You don't have the girls aren't with you, and you don't even know what you're talking about. It's like you're looking for a Subaru or something. You're wondering where's your Subaru? It's like you don't even know what wealth is. And then if someone was wealthy, that's not real wealth. Real wealth is me fucking tricking you and masturbating. And it's like, what are you talking about? And Queen Lear, nobody cares if you slept at all right? Be quiet and listen and meditate. This isn't your Instagram. Yeah, react orgasm achieved. It's like, all right, man, keep that shit to yourself. The difference between being a retard and being stupid is that you have a choice to be stupid or not. You don't have a choice that you're retarded or not. You know? People who are trolls are oftentimes, young, disenfranchised men. I've been a young, disenfranchised man too. I like trolling. I like having a good time. I like fucking around. But I don't like when people come in here and put in low effort and then masturbate because they're falsely convincing themselves that they're doing anything meaningful. And it's like, this is a chance to really take a look. And listen, have a conversation. And you're not enfranchised because you have money. It's like, I'm wealthy and I'm torturing people and I'm fucking masturbating. I'm fucking wealthy. I drive a Subaru. Nobody fucking cares. That doesn't actually mean anything. Or I'm very attractive. Okay, great. It's all about you. It's all your own bubble world. And this is about popping the bubble and actually experiencing the real world, which most people know nothing about because they've never had any meaningful experiences concerned with the real world that wasn't sold to them by Andrew Tate or some fucking, stupid bullshit that they've happened to come across. It is undeniable that I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. It is undeniable that I traveled all over the world as a monk and attended serious meditation retreats and studied with meditation masters and led community. This is maybe video 1102. Go and look at the first 1000 videos. The only person that can deny the depth of experience of being a fucking monk for 7 years and traveling around the world is a fake, disingenuous, stupid retard. And I don't know, but for me, that doesn't get me off. Being a stupid retard, okay, I can see the value in that. But being a fake, disingenuous, stupid retard, that doesn't get me going. That doesn't bring me to the edge. You know what I mean? You were a Buddhist monk for 7 years. Oh, you mean you're one of those TikTok guys with the singing bowls, right? You don't know. This is one of the stupid retard things. You don't know who I am, fuckwad idiot. You don't know who I am, fuckwad idiot. You don't know what being a Buddhist monk is, fuckwad idiot. You don't know what attending serious meditation retreats is, fuckwad idiot. You don't know what meditation masters are, fuckwad idiot. You don't know what it's like to be in the fucking jungle of Myanmar with your meditation master teacher, fuckwad idiot. You don't know anything about it. And we say, oh, you're getting angry. No, I'm trying to make a fucking point to your stupid retard brain. That's not about me being better than you. You can't say that I don't know something because I fucking know how to write in cursive and I got a B on the test. Or no, you can't fucking say that because I got weed in my Subaru and I'm gonna play video games. There's a lot of things that you don't know, motherfucker. And I'm not angry. I'm just impassioned, if anything, about the opportunity to connect about not knowing. Just like I don't know a lot of things about you. Mostly I don't know about you. But because you're, masturbating with the idea of being a stupid, retarded, disingenuous, fake idiot, then that's all I can see. That's all that I can know. I haven't been to Myanmar. I've lived in Myanmar as a fucking monk, dumbass. You can't say dumbass and expect us to... Expect you to what? What the fuck are you talking? You can't say you talk... And then they leave, and then they come back again, or, another brain rot, stupid, retard idiot comes back later and says, you're wearing a fucking green shirt. Money, my birthday's coming up. My birthday's coming up um, in next year, and what I would like is a small, basically an artificial intelligence instrument. So it would have two elements. Simple. It's the AI core and speaker instrument. Maybe you wear it on your chest, and then it's gloves. So full gloves that basically you move your fingers like this or anyways, and then the AI is spontaneously creating, like auto tune or musical, intuitive happening, just like if it was a flute, but like an AI flute, but you can do any instrument and you just move your fingers intuitively. So if anybody can invent that and create that and send it to me, I'd be highly appreciative. Okay, you use tobacco or you use nicotine, okay. You drink coffee, you drink energy drinks, okay. But stop the alcohol, stop the weed, stop the psychedelics. That's one of the most important things that we can do. And the same with masturbating. You want to masturbate? Okay, masturbate. But cut out the porn because it's just too confusing, it's too convoluted. You want to eat meat? Okay, you're going to eat meat, but don't kill bugs. Don't kill living beings. You want to be selfish? Okay, but also think about how to share and how to help others as a part of your life. Even if it's just your grandma or helping somebody out, do something small. And you want to talk shit? Okay, talk shit, but don't be dishonest. Don't misrepresent yourself. As much as somebody can receive you and actually be there to listen to you fully, then try to meet them in that, at least a little bit. And don't just be, communicating solely through disingenuousness and like a masturbation curtain. You're talking to them and masturbating in the background. Try to be authentic, try to give, try to reach out and give. Even if you're an autistic fucking loser, try to give, try to share a little bit. You know my WhatsApp number. So share a little bit. Not killing, not stealing, not lying, not sexually misconducting, and, not being intoxicated. And then maybe you realize, wait a minute, I am smoking a lot. Or you realize I'm taking a lot of caffeine. And you say, well, wait a minute, what if I don't do what I could do? But when it comes to like smoking weed or getting drunk or vaping all the time, you're kind of putting yourself in a position to be lost in the sauce. And then you're just waiting for life to come and bend you over and spank you. And then, but I'm masturbating. Well, okay, man, that's fine for you, but, this isn't just about, life isn't just about being by yourself, is it? Maybe it is for you, and that's, that can also be okay. I'm not saying anybody has to do what I do. I'm just sharing what I do. So the being intoxicated is kind of like if you use tobacco or if you use caffeine, if you use too much. You can barely stand. I mean, you're dizzy. You certainly can't meditate. You're lost, right? If you overdose on nicotine, using snus and things like that. But it's the same with caffeine. If you drink so much caffeine that your heart's beating and your body is itchy and you're, totally flipped and ripped out, there's no space for you to just sit back and allow and to be with. And the reason that weed and alcohol are so prohibited is because the moment that you take that stuff in, you're drunk on it. The very nature of it is to get drunk on it. Yeah. And like these people masturbating about being disingenuous or being weird is just like, this is more weird than that, you fucking dummy. And if you can't see that, it's you're willingly choosing to be stupid and pretend that I am, the YouTuber that wears a toilet seat on his head and just fucking... And you've got to be very willfully stupid to believe that. Just like I would have to be very willfully stupid to believe that. Because, why? Well, because this guy was a Buddhist monk for 7 years, so he's certainly not a comedian wearing a toilet seat on his head, no matter how much he might doubt himself or how much he might appear to be. It's not just that. So in the same way, it doesn't matter how much you appear to be a stupid, retard, idiot, loser, freak, right? You're not that. And this is just a message that says you are not that, so, give it a break or move along. Or, bring a little bit more depth to it, a little bit more wholeness to it, a little bit more fullness to it, so we can all enjoy, so we can all masturbate. Or, meditate. Is Ditya still asleep?
I packed up the plan.
Oh, really? Except for Aditya, because
Yeah.
he was 10.
But that's it.
How about this oatmeal? Are you just waiting for Aditya to come down?
Yeah,
to share
well, I
that?
was wondering, I'm happy to heat it up and eat it. I thought, I wanted to, he's been feeding me, so I wanted to see if you wanted to partake in the eating of the oatmeal.
Yeah, it's nice to get that cycle going.
I bought my radical resume for your perusal because I wondered if you'd be interested in...
Well, I'm interested in the book. I'm interested in the Australian book release.
Oh, yeah.
Is that in your resume? Some things that have prepared you for creating a spiritual book for your guru?
Well,
For the Australian audience?
yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay, great.
But I don't know, I don't presume to, I would never publish anything that didn't have your seal of, even though it is actually verbatim things that you've said, but there's still...
Well, I think Shelley can help with it, but it's better to just, take the gold and make it into something that resonates with you, because the pure gold is, the pure gold is too soft. You see what I'm saying? So it takes some dilution and it takes some affinity towards what people, middle-aged Australian women are connecting with, because I don't know what they're connecting with.
Well, I just follow the flow. If I feel inspired,
Yeah.
then it will just come out of me. I don't ever really, do things that I don't feel is, it's
This I
not-
love. I love the swastika. This is one of my favorite symbols. I'd love to get a swastika. If I got a tattoo, it would be a swastika tattoo.
It's a good symbol. It's
Yeah.
very powerful. That's why the Nazis used it.
Yeah. All wars kill kids. Shame on the Turnbull government. We all need trees to breathe. Your boss is not your friend. Men are the problem. Hey, you're preaching to the choir here. Boobs are not sexual objects. They perform natural function. Great.
That's Bunjil, the creator.
I love second wave feminism. Prostitution is not work, it's sexual slavery and rape. Love it. Newsflash, porn causes erectile malfunction. Ha 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 ha. Australian government funds You know, the Australian government is very white focused as well when it comes to this workaway program or the work visa. Because for an Indian to get that work visa, they'd have to, they'd have, I don't know if Shiva himself could get a work visa to, from India to Australia, right?
Yeah, last night or the night before, we were at that the Grains place, and they were all here, you know, from all parts of the world, working and benefiting, and that's why, like, my question was like, what are you giving anything back? Like, not that you're benefiting, but what are you giving? Like, if you go to another country, I think you should give, not take.
Yeah.
But that's me. You can't take me anywhere. I'll always.
No, it's good to disrupt like that.
Yeah.
But there's a, there's a real art about, like, so when you're disrupting, but when you're with someone that's not identified with your disruption, but is not against it. You know what I mean? Like that person carrying equality while you're disrupting, but you're with them.
Yeah, well, you feel safe like that night.
But the other people feel safe too. You know, it's
Yeah.
there's kind of an unknownness that allows people to be more confronted. Because it's not like a group of people confronting them about one thing. But yeah, I like that kind of thing.
When I would do my bouts of silence, every year, like from New Year's Eve, I would be silent for as long as I could. Like, maybe, I think that the longest was like 4 weeks or something. And people would ask me, like, because they would think that I was like a retarded, you know, that I couldn't speak and stuff. But then I would break this out and show them that. You know?
Okay. Who's Ken Ni Fong?
Kenny Fong, that's just a tripper I met in Melbourne like 30 years ago, and he put together this. That's been a big.
Should we call him? See if he's on WhatsApp?
Well,
I'll see it.
he's amazing.
He's got psychedelics and stuff, huh?
I don't know. No.
That's not what this is about.
No.
Okay.
No. That was like he was just like a person you would find on the street, and he's Asian, and I'd always run into him, and he had this little booklet like what this is, but this is the material that he had, and it was this. It's all. This was his book, and Awakening to Inner Peace, Journey into Conscious New World. And it's just all the infinite space of eternal open heart space. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's so good. But he'd use his pictures and drawings and self-published book. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like for you.
Yeah, sure.
Well, not you.
Well, not so. We got to find a publisher. We want to do it.
No,
You know, we want to make some money in this.
Self-publish and then,
Well.
and then go from there. Like,
Hello, Ken.
Hello.
Good day, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Who is this?
This is Dr. Rob. This is a friend of the clown, the Lee. You remember Lee? Yeah, she a professional clown. Anyway, we were just looking through her art book here. What is this called?
It's just my radical resume.
Radical Resume book, and we just came across your self-published book for the meditation, sacred ceremony, life coaching. So I just thought to give you a call.
I think it's the wrong number. You're calling to the wrong person.
You're not Ken Ni Fong.
Nah.
Oh, who are you, mate? Oh, he hung up. Well, that's the way it goes, eh?
That would have been trippy.
Yeah.
If he still had the same number. Because this is from the 90s.
Wow.
In
All
Melbourne.
right.
Yeah, it's
So,
like a long time.
where is Ken Ni Fong? He sounded like Ken Ni Fong. He
But
looked
he-
like an Asian guy.
Yeah, and he had a picture of his guru, and it was a woman, an Asian woman,
Yeah.
she was just like known for laughing, you know.
Yeah.
And he'd go and he had, I think I have a picture of her, because that was in his book as well.
Well, I have a black female guru as well, someone you'd probably like to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's second wave or third wave, but she's
Well,
very Buddhist, so
It's very important for me. It's been a bit hard in this teaching because I want to hear female voices, especially black female voices.
yeah.
And I've been looking up some of the resources, but I've been left somewhat wanting. But now you've given me the good stuff, so I'm very happy to receive that information. Because they're just not that prevalent.
Yeah. Well, Panyavati, Venerable Panyavati, I think you should like a lot.
See, this is a meditation, letting go of all the past with love and gratitude. I breathe in the clear sky. I breathe out all the clouds.
Those things, those privileges. When you're born in human realm, okay, the objective is that you don't have access to all these privileges. At least if you're not American. I mean, never mind. Okay, so it's half and half. You have privileges, but also you have disadvantages as well. So far, so good. So the nature, human realm, is lower than a God's realm because it's 100% good. Down here is 50-50. All right? And remember, cultivation requires you to endure suffering. You need to look at your suffering, and just like the Buddha showed it, demonstrated it, in order to cultivate, you have to say, I'm suffering. I want to put an end to this. If there are people who says, I'm not suffering, I'm happy, I'm rich, I'm powerful, I am famous, I have a wife, who, you know, we're happy together. After I divorced my first wife, now I'm happy with my second wife. Okay, they're happy. They have all these privileges. They're not going to be able to cultivate.
Does that make sense? You understand that? So that's why it's the people, these wealthy people, the Logan Pauls and stuff. I mean, they're going through different realms. They'll go through different experiences, but they're more so, you could say, in a kind of God realm, where they don't have any disadvantages or like concerned with money or getting what they need. But because of that, they don't have the opportunity to cultivate. So that comes into like the style or the context of this retreat where, you know, we don't want to be here, but actually we're being humanized by being here. And that's when we can say, I am suffering, fuck this. And that's where the liberation comes from, and that's where the cultivation takes place. And so these kind of people, that's a well-known advisor. That's someone you can listen to. You can't necessarily call them up and talk to them, but if you're blessed enough, then at those moments, you can start to listen to them instead of calling up Sheila or Sally or Jim or Bob or whoever. Even if Jim or Bob or Sheila or Sally might be great, they haven't cultivated for 20, 30, 40 years as a monk or as a serious meditator or whatever. And, you know, this is like a proven. So there's like a proof in the pudding of that platform that person is in that makes them well known and an advisor. So, but it's not about your judgments about it because they have a higher level of cultivation than you. So that's where the faith comes in, because otherwise you can't just listen to them and you're immediately saying, well, but they don't do composting at their temple, or but that was a little bit sexist, or et cetera, et cetera. Because their level is way, their you know, you have internalized sexism as well, even if it's very subtle. Like I have internalized, even if I say I'm not a racist, there's some internalized elements of that. But for them, their internalized elements might be zero or much less than yours because they've gone to the root of biases and prejudgments and prejudices based on appearances.
And this is the refuge in the...
Yeah, refuge in the
Yeah.
Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And then if you go there, another one of the proofs or the tests, because they have like, you know, 2 times a year, 4 times a year, they have these meditation retreats where all they do is sit down and fold their legs and face suffering. So there's like an undeniable proof of actualization or skillfulness in that. But it's still different people. It doesn't mean that those people have wisdom, but they do have a capacity and a willingness to face very deep and serious suffering and to transform it. So it's very, very subtle. It's more subtle than the intellectual stuff can reach. If the intellectual stuff could reach the subtlety of the world or the situation, then we could just go around and fix everything with our opinions and our feeling and our think so, like what you described at the disability clinic or the, you know, the service group. So yeah, I take refuge in those people, and I just listen and just receive and just, you know, go with the flow of it. Like taking refuge in elders. So that's like an elder that's, you know, and that was just live. That was a live stream. So kind of creating a spiritual family inside of your own mind. Because you can't take refuge in your friends. Your friends aren't trained. And then immediately we get into, well, what about me versus my friend versus this? It's not about comparing people. It's just the matter-of-factness of, you know, those are your friends. Those aren't elders. Especially not elders for being concerned with the ending of suffering. So the style or the technique or the way is kind of like, it's like a precision or a skillfulness of getting to the root and then dealing with the root. So, you know, has your friend that gives you advice. I'm not just saying to you personally, but in general. Has your friend that gives you advice, have they ever sat down for 2 hours straight and faced suffering?
They have.
It's not about, but this is the thing, it's not about comparing and contrasting people. And that's good if they've done that, but have they done that for thousands of hours? No, of course they haven't. Have they done that for tens of thousands of hours? Are they a well-known advisor? Are they a spiritual leader in a community? But it's not one or the other. You see? It's not comparing and contrasting. It's not one or the other. So that reason, what you're expressing right now is the reason that it's according to blessings rather than making determinations. Because even if we could say that Master Yonghua is a way, you know, and that we would believe and we would say by metrics that he's a monk or that he's meditated for way more than someone else, right? Even if we said that, it doesn't mean that we would, and believe that, it doesn't mean that we would feel connected enough or open enough or have the conditions enough to go and listen to that person. We might just listen to the, you know, who's our friend or the person we come across.
Well, one thing I've been feeling is the need to have that in my life, like someone that's, and that's why it's been good. I've been listening to a lot of Ajahn Brahm and Thich Nhat Hanh, but I want to have, like, I don't want, but it would benefit if I could have some kind of, you know, teacher or something, to someone where I can just put all my shit aside and listen, you know? And so that's what I'm craving deeply, guidance in this path. Because otherwise I'm just blind, you know? Tripping over, and that's boring. But it's also, it is what it is. I'm here. So I'm really grateful to be here, and it's an absolute miracle. But I can see the renunciation and how important that is. Not see, I can, like, that aligns with, you know, it's funny, when I was a teenager, I was like, you know, when they're like, you got to be something when you grow up, I wanted to be a nun or a DJ. That's how ridiculous I am. And I became a DJ. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm just here to listen and offer some kind of resources and use me up.
Well, you can't make many determinations concerned with meditation unless you've made the determination yourself to meditate seriously, right? So your degree of investing in the practice of being nun-esque is what gives you a position to actually consider being a nun or joining a community. So that's where you get your independence and your individuation from. So maybe you do want to reach out for help or sacrifice your life in some way or take refuge in a teacher, but you doing that inside yourself with like Ajahn Brahm or Thich Nhat Hanh or who, you know, maybe Venerable Panavati, etc., on your own with the space and time that you already have, it doesn't just make it more likely that that might happen, that you might choose to do something like that, but you're now more actually individuated in making that choice rather than having that sold to you or doing that out of desperation, which is, I think, more common for people to do. You know, like in a certain sense, when I became a monk, I was doing so out of desperation because I didn't know what Buddhism was in that sense. I just stayed for a year at a Buddhist meditation center in America that was all about meditation, but there weren't really monks there. I didn't know anything about monk culture or Buddhist culture. I didn't even know what Asian people were. I'd never really spent time with Asian people or in Asian culture or society. So then I went there out of kind of a desperation because I couldn't do it on my own and I was ready to take refuge. And certainly there's some privilege involved that I was able-bodied, that I am, you know, a white man, that, you know, and those kinds of things, but that's less important than your willingness to sacrifice your life. It's kind of like how I usually say to people, you know, online, how if they need something, if maybe there's something I can do for them, you know, something comes up, reach out to me on WhatsApp, you know, maybe they need some baby formula, but nobody ever does it because it's a matter of sacrificing your life. So even though you're going to get what you want or you're going to get help or seemingly what you need or what you want or the help you need, that willingness and also that capacity to sacrifice yourself is what makes that possible or not. At least when it comes to the Sangha, being a nun, or renunciation, when it comes to renunciation.
Well, that's interesting that you brought that up because a lot of the problems that my friends and family had with me following you as a teacher, and when they looked at you online, like, they were like, oh, he's just asking for money, he's a charlatan, there's so many spiritual people online, you're just being taken advantage of, and I was like, it's not like that, like, and then when you listen a lot and you hear that you do offer help in whatever way, like just being available 24/7 is incredible, but also in a way of like energetically with resources like money and stuff is that, like, I've actually experienced that now because it's like you're not full of shit, you know, you're not, and any investment Like if you are serious, you should offer, if you have it, like you should give, because it's so important. This is helping me to transform my life, which will benefit everyone else and everyone that I come across. And if we all do that, then we can make the world a better place. And that's what it's about. Like, I'm like to try and help. I don't want to bring people down. I want to raise them up. So, but we can only do that together. Otherwise, it's just, what's the point, of just hoarding all your resources and sitting in your, like, I've got an incredible house, as everyone's saying, but that house is a fucking empty shell without people in it, sharing the resources. That's why I've got, Jesse and the kids, and, I host people from where we're going when they're coming back into society from the desert. They always stop at my house to have a refuge there, and everyone should open your door, because I've been on the receiving end of that as well when I was home free and lived in shanties in people's backyard, and I would always bring homeless people back, and I'm kind of famous for that. But my friends have been very generous, and that's the whole point, sharing resources. So if you can give, you should give. But, and then, because the thing that you say is, if you can't afford to give money, then give your meditation practice. And because that's just as valuable as well. So if people just listen, but sometimes people are blocked to listening. So it's sort of like your journey will get to the next level if you're open to that and everything aligns for you to receive that information. Then if you're blocked to receive that information, then you can't keep evolving and changing, or just even being here, because you're not ready. My whole life, 35 years or whatever, I've been a seeker of truth, like the ultimate truth, but I haven't been ready until this moment now. So we're just lucky, to even be alive and experience this and have this moment together. So make the most of it, because, what's the alternative? Nothing lasts forever. Everything is impermanent. So spread love and give joy and sit in the suffering, because life is suffering.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds all right. Thank you for your sharing. We've got a Sydney boy, sleepyhead, somewhere.
Were you guys up late or something?
I wasn't up late. I slept like a bird.
Getting his Zeds in. Should I wake?
Go and give
I
him a
think I
song,
should
eh?
wake, yeah.
Give him a beautiful song.
Yeah.
So we don't, we're about
Yeah.
4 hours away or something.
Dude, we can do this.
Yeah, we're gonna make it
Follow
today, I
the
think.
energy, follow the song lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lee. Our next destination is the Aboriginal campout. And then probably Perth. All right. Good on you, mate. Janeth. Be careful with your dicky. And good on you, Candice. Personified midlife crisis? It is. It's a colonial thing. It's like when, white people came to Australia and they look at Aboriginals living their lives and they say, you look like this and that. Fuck off, mate. Not in terms of me responding to you, but like in terms of lightning striking you and giving you a grand mal seizure of awareness that you're not in control of everything. That your opinion and your thoughts about things are irrelevant to the life of others. By and by. And it's not an interpersonal thing. It's not that me and you are now arguing. It's that you said that, and then you stepped on a fucking snake, and the snake bit you, and the Aboriginal kept walking. It's got nothing to do with me and you. The address of my wallet, eh? Right here. This is the address of my wallet. Yeah, but it's not a conversation, man of this earth. It's not a conversation. We're not equal here, you fucking retard, idiot, stupid loser. Now, I'm getting him. He's reacting to me. We are not equal. Whoever you are. And also, I don't care who you are. I'm not interested enough in you to watch. If you did a live stream, or if you were doing something, if you were doing some kind of work, I wouldn't give two fucks. I wouldn't watch it. You are interested enough in me and in this and in what's happening here to be here. Take responsibility for your own attention so that you'll be a little bit less stupid. You're still going to be a fucking retard, like full on, mate, but you'll be a little bit less stupid that way. It's like going to a meditation center and commenting on what's going on and then saying, actually, I don't even want to be here. Nobody gives a fuck if you want to be here. It's got zero to do with you. And this, me expressing this way, also doesn't have anything to do with you. It's a principle that I'm trying to convey in general. Irrelevant to you. I don't know who the fuck you are. I don't care. You do a live stream, I won't watch it. You've got something to say, I don't give a fuck. And I'm not saying my ego doesn't care or not. You're sitting here watching. You're sitting here listening. You're using your time and your life to listen to me, to sit and watch me and follow me. Whereas I would never do that when it comes to you. So take responsibility for that, you fucking dummy. And once again, it's not personal. It's got nothing to do with you. I have no idea who you are and I don't care. I'm just trying to convey the ridiculousness of making these statements, these platitudes to yourself about yourself. And I'm trying to say, nobody gives a fuck. Right, and then this is the other, I've got a way of looking at this. Nobody cares that you've got a way of looking at this, man. This isn't about you. I'm saying that fucking doesn't matter to anybody but you. Full stop. Full on. And now, yeah, but what about you? Have you thought about yourself? I'm not here for you, man. This doesn't have anything to do with you. This isn't about you in any way at all. At all. But I'm masturbating, aren't I? I'm masturbating. It's got to be about me. I'm thinking about it. It doesn't fucking matter, mate. Whatever way you can justify the importance of your thoughts here is irrelevant to what's going on here. Full stop, full on. But I'm gonna fucking torture and kill your kids, mate. Great. So go on and get on with it and fuck off. Yeah, weather's good. It's probably it's gonna warm up slowly. And people say, we got him, we got him, we got him, we got him. Okay, then fucking go and live your life and enjoy the fact that you got me. And you say, but we're fucking equal because fucking you're saying things and I'm saying things. What don't you understand about taking responsibility for where you put your attention? I'm living my own fucking life. But I'm following you, but I'm thinking about you, but I'm looking at... I don't fucking care. Nobody here cares. It's all about you. This is all about you. And nobody gives a fuck about your isms, the you-isms that you're sharing. Because that has nothing to do with what's going on here. And this is not just about the... I'm a live streamer. I'm a fucking retard live streamer, and he sees the real me, and he's thinking about me in a certain way. Ugh! It's a principle that relates to society in the world. I think that girl's ugly. Those fucking black people suck. Okay, so go to your own place and masturbate about it. Don't make it anybody else's problem. If you can. I do care a lot, but I don't care a lot about random anonymous fucking freak loser idiots that are trying to, get relevance in, I'm thinking about you in a way that you wouldn't understand because the way that I'm seeing, nobody cares, man. The way that you see it, great. So the fuck what? Nobody cares. Go and tell your grandma about it. Go and look at this fucking guy. And then what really gets bad is when a group of these fucking retarded, loser, fake, disingenuous, stupid idiots get together. We're all thinking about it in a certain way, aren't we? We're gonna get him. There's no such thing as Buddhism. He thinks that there's such a thing as Buddhism. He thinks that he's lived a life. Buddhism? You mean fucking shit in my toilet? As they're wiping their shit all over their face and looking at it. Look at me, look at me. Nobody cares, man. It's just not about that at all. But I'm thinking about you in a certain way. Okay, who cares? What are you fucking talking about? How about you? Are you thinking about him in a certain way too? And that's fine and good if you have somebody who's, kind of on the spectrum and overexpressive and, I was watching some guy who was talking about like being an alcoholic and being 3 years sober. Just a small YouTube channel. I don't know why it was recommended to me. And, he's just kind of sitting there and talking about his life, and he's clearly very vulnerable, maybe intellectually, but also not much training in meditation and maybe very Americanized experience. And I could just see maybe the value or the joy that people would get out of, manipulating his psychology in some way, because the context is really all just about him and like his life and like this personal vlog. And sure, fuck people. They think they just make a vlog and, nobody cares. Yes, of course, that's fine, and you want to interfere or you want to make a laugh about it, that's fine. But that's not the case here. And I wouldn't recommend doing that either. I don't think that that's a good thing to do in general. But that's not the case here. And so it's like you're giving yourself a lobotomy of pretending to not know what you know, that you don't know. Like you don't fucking know anything about Buddhism. Yeah, I know about Buddhism. It's just shit. It's just fucking shit. It's just fucking PS5. And then you get in a group, but you know that that's bullshit. I'm not saying that I was in a band. I'm not saying that I went through an addiction crisis and now I found God or now I found enlightenment. I'm saying that this is concerned with Buddhism and meditation and a very rich, deep, lived experience of human life that's being, shared about here. And there's full-on accessibility. So you also can't get off on the, we're affecting. Fucking affect me, call me. Some of the people that have called that have been trolls have been so fucking group home, loser, freak, retard, idiot, schizoid losers. They're talking, I'm going to troll them, I'm going to troll them, I'm going to troll them, I'm going to troll them. And now we've got a group of the real fucking schizoid, retard losers that they're jerking off right now. We're getting him. All of his life is now. We've got him. You call up and then, but not in a cool way where you're like yelling into the microphone with reckless abash. Like that's your, hey, I'm trolling you. So we're maybe getting into the deep end, but this is something I'm really interested in. I'd love to connect with people who think that they've got the better end of me. Less, of course, wanting to connect with people who think they've got the worst end of me, but be brave and be open and be willing to follow through with your curiosity and don't just be a pretender. And we got this person saying, I know what you don't know and what he doesn't know, he knows. But all this as well is just you pretending to know anything about Buddhism or meditation when you fucking don't. And then we have to, Buddhism and meditation is the shit in my toilet. And I read a book once called The Eternity of the Soul. And I realized that all this is just fucking bullshit. Did you? That somehow you're, this fucking stupid book that you've read, or this stupid fucking podcast that you've listened to, or this stupid fucking vague general idea that you've got in your head about the world and the way that the world is and my philosophy on the world somehow stands up to 7 years of being a Buddhist monk. Or what Buddhism is, or what Buddhism is about, or what meditation, in Buddhism is about. So anyway, it's not about convincing anybody. I'm not trying to convince trolls of anything. I'm just trying to say, look, this is a very open space for everyone already. So make use of that openness, but try to bring some depth to it. That's not about pretending to be happy with having a shitty life, or pretending to be happy with some kind of weird parasocial stalking, one-sided relationship based on your judgment of another person. It's just weird. It's just pointless. Especially when that person who's a fucking loser and a fucking lolcow and a fucking crazy person has, lived for a monk for 7 years and traveled over the entire world and has lived, individuated and independently in all over Asia and even in Europe as well, and that somehow that person is a frail, freakazoid, loser, idiot, etc. Because the invitation for that connection together is very real. The invitation to connect with the people who are here, whoever they are, especially young men who might like to troll. You could say that you could troll me, but you're not going to be a bigger troll than me. You're not going to be a stronger troll than me. Yes, I will, because I'll fucking ruin your life. Well, then you're ruining your own life by holding on to that kind of mentality of harming others. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, we can troll a little bit, we can poke a little bit, we can have a little bit of fun, because people can be very self-centered. But this isn't about me, this is about Buddhism and meditation. And you don't know anything about Buddhism and meditation, or you're not willing to know anything about Buddhism and meditation. So it's just the context is not something that you're willing to be involved with. And then you make the context into this parasocial fake idea of the person that you're watching or listening to, and then try to troll that. It's got nothing to do with me or you, really. It's just some weird stuff. And there's a lot of weird stuff in the world, So one of the big topics and something that's very important is actually being individuated. So I am a very individuated person. What does that mean? It means that we don't just have an identity, like a social, cultural identity of the society or whatever. This person's a fucking schizoid dude. This person's a rocker guy with dreadlocks. This guy's a former addict. This guy's a businessman. This guy works construction. This guy's a gamer. This guy... Okay. I'm a very individuated human being. Oh, he can't say that. Oh, he's crazy. Oh, he's a loser. Because I've had very unique experiences in my life, and I've had a lot of mentors, and I've had a lot of role models, and I've had a lot of suffering, and I've lived in community a lot, and I've traveled around the world a lot. Period. Not talking about, but you like this thing, but you weren't the perfect one, were you? It's nothing to do with any of that, but having a very unique individual experience and having a deep relationship with myself that's kind of undeniable, that I've developed or cultivated through serious meditation. Sue me, crucify me because I'm saying serious meditation. You can't say that. We only believe in big butts and fucking Subarus. No, I mean, we believe in messing with the people that believe in big butts and Subarus. No, I mean, and then you just go and masturbate and you start the whole process over again. However you justify it, right? So I'm not trying to justify anything. I don't have to justify anything. Because my lived experience is my justification for abandoning my notion of self through direct experience. And I'm trying to say that that's maybe not necessary, or as necessary as it seems to be, to react that way to unknowing, or to learn about a new principle, or to learn about a new practice, etc. And then we get the disagreeing thing. I haven't had a headache in a while because I haven't had to raise my blood pressure up to the brain to purge the brain parasites for a while, because we've been on this trip. In that way, it's been quite relaxing. you know, I'm going to be honest about it. Yeah. Big subject and a big idea. Who the hell is this?
Morning, Dr. Rob.
Good day, mate. Who's this?
It's Liam. I called up like a month ago.
Oh, how's it hanging, mate?
Oh, very well. What yourself?
Good. Getting better every day.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So what's up?
I got a few topics on my mind.
Yeah.
One of them is omniism. The other is moving away from people who seem to be stuck in a cycle of self-destruction, especially with alcohol.
What did you say? Omniism?
Yeah, omniism.
What's that? What's omniism?
Effectively understanding the value of all religion, spiritual beliefs, everything, just getting that humanistic view of understanding that we've tried to overcome certain issues in life through belief and structure.
Right.
And, yeah.
So it's kind of what we're really speaking from and speaking about is the Renaissance, the Western Age of Enlightenment, right? Because before we were serfs and the sun was flat and the kings were in control of everything, and then we went through this Age of Enlightenment, this Renaissance, where now our intellect and our scientific capacities have this really real relevance, this practical relevance to the world and the situations that are going on in the world. But this is actually a kind of false flag event. So what kind of Age of Enlightenment or what kind of Renaissance is it when there's not enough foundation of common sense to not poison the water that we drink? What kind of Renaissance or Age of Enlightenment is it when we can't be aware enough about the shared global situation to the point where we fundamentally, the people who are in power at least, work together to stop things that are polluting the earth?
I believe that comes from a part of being disconnected from the outcome of our decisions.
Well, wherever it comes from, what I'm trying to convey here is the inefficacy of our cultural roots that our psychology is based on. So,
Absolutely.
so in that, everything just comes back to the practicality of here and now. There's not really any relative, and for me, from a pragmatist standpoint, there's really no relevance of any kind of thought or theorizing outside of our current access to sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, feel, here and now. So everything kind of needs to be deconstructed. Well, maybe we are a politician, maybe we're a community leader, maybe we are a boat salesman. But for most of the people here, certainly for me, I'm just where I am right here, right now. And so that position is most important for me when it comes to my philosophy, my praxis, and my approach to dealing with anything. Because this kind of infatuation, this fetishism about a role, a high role, is inherent in our culture, in our psychology. So that's why they say that Americans are all Americans are like disenfranchised millionaires or millionaires in waiting, right? And you can see that in the modern scourge of young people who think that they're going to be influencers, or they're going to be streamers, or they're going to make a career from their shitty content, right?
Yeah.
We're all kind of trying to LARP ourselves into a role. And the message here is a message of the role of rolelessness in deepening our relationship with the experience of suffering now.
Understand?
Yeah.
But
So the omniism, or the the equality, also what you're kind of talking about is this equality. It's where it's not equal. There's nothing equal. Nobody's equal. There's no such thing as fucking equality. Equality is a 100% false flag event. This guy's a fucking master carpenter, that person isn't. Period. This person's a woman, that person's a man, period. In terms of their genitalia, in terms of whatever. That person has a baby inside of them, that person doesn't, period. And until we can kind of throw the baby and the bathwater out into the crocodiles to eat, of equality especially equality, then we can't really begin to communicate about what we have to offer and what we're willing to offer.
for sure, equality is not a foundation of a good society. It should be more accessibility, which is what we aim for in Australia.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of good things in Australia, and I think there's more good things on the way.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it here.
But we have to watch out. You kind of have to watch out very, very closely for this fetishism about being in a role. This fetishism about being a leader. This fetishism about being an activist. This fetishism about being a teacher. This fetishism about being a student. Because that fetishism doesn't allow us to use those things without attachment. And actually using it with attachment always keeps us like staying on the surface of our psychology and our heart, mind, nature connection. So what gives you heaviness is your willingness to do without attachment. Wholeheartedly, completely.
Which I find challenging to do because I have a job. That job is a title. And, that's how people perceive me. But what I do is so much more than beyond that title.
Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with gay people as well. But I don't know how much. But it's, there is a lot of we're human beings. We're not world emperors. We're not aliens, and we're not particularly wealthy. At least, I'm not, and I think most people in this community aren't. So we're not lobbying politicians. We're not having lunch with 90-year-old women that are leading the voting rights in Wisconsin or in Michigan or whatever it is. We're shit kickers. And you kind of have to be a lot more willing to be a shit kicker to begin to make a meaningful impact in your own mental life and the mental life of others.
For sure.
You have to be ready to be low before you're going to attain to density.
Otherwise, I'd fall into illusions of grandeur.
Well, you fall into illusions of grandeur, or you fall into illusions of diminishment, or you fall into illusions of self. I mean, that's the biggest illusion that we're constantly falling into, is the illusion of separation. And, I get these trolls that they're constantly masturbating to my visage, and we have to you just have to accept that and move on.
Yeah.
You know?
We had a practice out at the front of the Victoria State Library where we'd sit down and just hold space for people. And just sit down regularly, come celebrate a tree, hang out with pigeons, dance with them, and all sorts of people would come there. There was like a real, like, twisted mentality with the youth there. They would come up and abuse the guy who was with, who was an Aboriginal elder. They would physically abuse him. They would spit on him. But there would be wonderful interactions too. It's such a, something's happened to the youth.
Well, people are not activated enough. We can't blame it on the youth when the youth have been raised by stupid fucking people and weak fucking people. You know, you can say a lot about Aboriginals, you know, in the modern day, but you certainly can't say that they weren't fucking strong as hell people living in a way that we could never live, especially today. And that's their heritage and that's their culture. So, you know, I think that I've gotten a lot of deepening and I've gotten a lot of empowerment from Buddhism and living in community. So it's good and all that we're sitting on the steps with some Aboriginal and shooting the shit and feeling good and feeling profound. But what experiences do you actually have in living in community?
I've had glimpses of it.
Yeah, glimpses, but glimpses aren't enough to be empowered. Glimpses aren't enough to be individuated. So our lack of relationship and lack of connection with community is foundational to our weakness. So yeah, we can sit around and we can feel profound and we can feel like we're meditating and stuff like that, but we're not actually empowered. Because that's just like an offshoot of entertainment for us. Or an offshoot of we're sitting there consuming it. We're sitting there getting high off our own supply rather than taking responsibility for the nature.
We were trying so desperately to make community.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that it's not, you know, it's like a child that's been chosen to not be raised up, you know, infanticide by Aboriginals way back when, you know, trying their best to survive. It doesn't matter that you try your best to survive. You know, it takes radical experience, it takes self-sacrifice, and it takes blessings. You know, it's cause and effect. Cause and effect is uncomprehendibly subtle. It's unfathomable. Totally unfathomable. So, you know, what for me, when I think about community, I'm thinking about resource distribution according to ability and need. I'm thinking about providing basic resources according to the standards of the community members. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. You can't just live in a fucking shack. You got to live in a place that's decent enough to live. And then calling in elders and getting trained. Or bringing in experienced people and receiving that. Especially, I think, people coming from you know, a Buddhist informed background that are revolutionary. To build community in modern Western countries is a revolutionary act for sure. Unless it's about fucking Gucci belts and iPhones and some parasocial relationship with some entertainment person, then it's totally revolutionary and it's totally outside of our wheelhouse as Westerners. We don't live in community, we don't do campouts, we don't have elders, we don't have spiritual meditation masters. And then the real fucking crux of it is that you've got to work with what you have access to. You're not going to be able to work with a fairy tale teacher, a fairy tale monk, a fairy tale situation that's gonna fly in from Timbuktu and shit roses and help out you and all your friends and give them a bunch of money. It's never gonna work like that. So it's really like taking responsibility for what already is and then going as deeply as possible into that. And seeing how far you can go into that, especially concerned with self-sacrifice. And that self-sacrifice is not just about listening to what someone else says, but actually giving your experience, which is not about what we think or what we want or our opinions about things. And the deeper that you can get into the training of detachment, the more that you can share about your experience that's not about what you want, but it could be about communal needs Or it could be about an aspiration that doesn't have egoic desire infused with it. But if you've never had any training in that, or if you've never even really talked about detachment or studied about it, and now you're talking about creating study groups or communal groups, you know, without a teacher, it's all very difficult. It's all a big fucking mess. It's all pretty fucking hopeless. And then the biggest thing is that everybody wants to do their own thing. The moment that anybody gets a little bit of inspiration or a little bit of fucking ayahuasca in their pocket, now they want to create their own ayahuasca center, or gets the littlest experience with meditation. Now they want to make their own meditation center. And we're just, well, firstly, we're not accessible enough, even though we're so connected. But then we want to do our own thing. Please don't prepare anything for me. Then we want to do our own thing instead of collaborate, because that's how our egos are. So then community is never going to get built. It's just building a structure for our ego to be more important.
How do we overcome that without elders?
You got to make use of you've got to, how do you overcome that without elders? You have to seek elders, and you have to take refuge in people who have sought and found elders, and you have to go from there. But depending on your blessings or depending on your conditions, the person or the people that you might find might be fucking Western spiritual freak lunatics talking about some, you know, ayahuasca shaman in Peru that's, gonna sell you a fucking fiddle. You know, or someone who's talking about fucking aliens and reptiles and fucking, you know, channeling 5-dimensional beings, and then you're going to have to work with that. So it's really according to your blessings. It's not according to what you want or what you can control, because you can't control it. It's like just being able to be alive tomorrow is according to our blessings. It's not because we've willed it. You can't will yourself to be alive. So you got to become a hitchhiker, and you got to become open, and you got to become vulnerable, because everybody's got shit in their gut. Unless they've been fasting for, 3 days or 10 days, and now it's not shit in their gut, it's blood and pus and mucus and all that shit. So you have to be more open, to be more vulnerable, to actually connect and develop trust. But interpersonal trust is never going to work when we're not coming from a communal background. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't have a foundation for being in community. We have a foundation for complaining about things. We have a foundation for destroying community. We have a foundation for exploiting community. We have a foundation for, maybe having parents that were somewhat regulated and had some time to spend with us. And then you've got a good bloke or a good Sheila or a good lady, a good profound feminine being or whatever, but they're going to be doing their own things. Those aren't the people who want to do this. They're fucking living in their fucking apartment in Sydney and drinking beers by the, wearing suits and laughing and shitting and farting and pissing all over the place, having a great time. So those aren't the people that you're going to be working with anyway. You're going to kind of have to be working with the lowest of people. And that's where you get your mass. The need of people is the mass for self-sacrifice, to attract self-sacrifice. So it's kind of exploiting sick people, but in a way that's meant to actually liberate everyone or sacrifice ourselves. So exploiting people's needs to sacrifice ourselves.
That's a lot like Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it. That's the only Western way that we have to see it, right? And we're much more affected by our cultural background than we know, because we're genocidal. We're a genocidal culture. We're a colonizing culture, right? So we're focused on the destroying and the appropriating and the dominating, rather than all of the cultural, social background that was established before that, or allowed that to take place. So it's actually not a Jesus thing. It's a thing of community, and it's a thing of willing to self-sacrifice and willing to get trained up by being together, concerned with the nature or the awareness, or you know, that's why it's very kind of good when you present yourself in a certain way, because then people get this like contextual belief about you as a certain kind of person, and then they believe in that, and then you stay connected that way. But that's not my shtick, because I'm coming from a impersonal side. So I'm here to be a symbol of impersonalism. But, you know, as you can see, we're here in Australia. We're on the choo-choo train of enlightenment and shit kicking and fucking fighting with each other. I wonder what we're going to fight about today. And, you know, but that's all in line with the guidance of the Buddhist masters to, because we were just talking earlier, well, Master Yonghua was talking about this, how when you have all this privilege, like those fuckers in Sydney, drinking their beers and shitting and pissing without flies in their face, you don't have enough suffering, or you don't have the conditions to be aware of that suffering. So you can't make use of that suffering to see the importance of saying, fuck this, I don't want to suffer at all. Those people are suffering, but they're not suffering in a way that they can perceive, because there's so much, because it's like 99.9% convenience or idealism. When you're a human being, it's like 50-50, shittiness and niceness throughout the day or throughout the life. And that's where you have the thing to say, wow, this suffering or this shittiness has such a deep relevance to my being and to my life. How do I end that? Instead of constantly trying to cover it up with more pleasure, with more convenience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Coming from that place of trying to end suffering.
And the way,
Perpetuate it.
yeah, and the way that you actually do this is that it's a, you know, and so that you're not forming a cult or a cult of personality, is that it's all about eating shit and drinking piss. That the depth of shit eating and the depth of piss drinking and the depth of shittiness and what's going on is so profound that it couldn't possibly be about someone. And that impossibility of it being about someone is how we make use or take refuge in the spiritual teacher or the more experienced person, or, you know, I mean, that's the thing, right? Because I'm supposed to be the spiritual teacher guy, but we'd be much better off if we were just sitting in a circle listening to Ajahn Brahm or listening to Thich Nhat Hanh or whoever. But then it's also not about trying to control other people to make them do what we want them to do. That's also where you get into a lot of problems in activist communities, because everybody's trying to make someone else do what they want them to do, and that's not a good basic principle to operate under. Then it's all transactional. It's always, well, but I did this, so I can tell you to do that, and everybody's doing a dance because there's no mutual understanding of the value of giving over the value of taking or controlling.
The first thing I do with any of my students is enable their agency, as opposed to try to force them to do things.
Well, I need to take some advice from you, because I don't know what the heck to do as a teacher. I just share, you know, I just give and I just show up and do what I can do. You know, I'm not gay, so I've got that. I mean, at least for me, I couldn't think of being, for me, not being gay is good. Because I'm not gay, you know what I mean? But I can see how that would sound a little bit like anti-LGBTQ to say, like, I feel good that I'm not gay, but that's just because I'm not gay. So if I was gay, then I wouldn't even be able to have the position of feeling good about not being gay, because I would be gay.
Yeah.
So it's very absurd.
What's like to be the other gender.
Yeah, but you can't, because if you were the other gender, you wouldn't be imagining about it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's absurd. I think there's an importance of absurdism, especially in weeding out the people that would rather be working at some kind of activist firm or, you know, something else like that, you know, because those people become a great drain on the community, because they're subtly trying to perpetuate self, the notion of self. And this is all about destabilizing, destructuring, disenfranchising the notion of self.
Yeah. Moving to selfless.
moving to an openness to receive guidance or be concerned with that kind of premise, the premise of selflessness. Like Rana was saying last night, I don't know if you were here, but Rana said, you know, if you meditate with the, you know, my teacher, Sayadaw Otamatara, founder of Tabarwa, he was saying, he just arrived in Vietnam for a social work trip after the meditation trip in India. And he was saying how if you come and you meditate with the master or someone like that, it's much more easy, much more likely that you can get, not enlightenment, not to talk about enlightenment because that's so profound, that's so far out, but you can get some bits of wisdom. You can start to get some slices of wisdom that then you can make use of moving forward, rather than just your egoic interpretations. Because from a wisdom side, from an enlightenment side, imaginary or not, anything to do with fucking psychic powers or fucking aliens or fucking anything like that is full on retardville. 1000%. Even chakras and kundalinis and stuff, when you start talking about enlightenment and wisdom and insight, it's very, 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 it's not that it's stupid, you're not saying it's less than, it's just totally irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant to your willingness to give rather than to hold on to. It's totally irrelevant to your practice of virtue or self-restraint or being willing to do what you're not willing to do and being not willing to do what you're willing to do. It's totally irrelevant to any kind of, you know, standardized meditation of samatha or vipassana, you know, the most well-recognized ways of direct mind examination. And it's totally irrelevant to the principles of wisdom, of ending suffering. It's all fluff. So that's a lot to convey. And, you know, I love that idea of community and development, but it's real hard work. And I think it's basically the way that I am inspired to do it and to go about it. It's very impossible unless we are willing to bring together the East and the West influences.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is kind of like a not conservative way of approaching it, whereas most Western Buddhist communities are very conservative. They're very conventional in a lot of senses. So yeah, they might do some charity work and they might have a meditation center. They might even have residents, but you can't call them and talk about going there. You know what I mean? And for me, that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can't call this well-established meditation center and community and talk to them about going there. So that's why this is a little bit more revolutionary and non-conventional and more focused on accessibility.
Absolutely. Technology has really enabled us to create platforms that we've never had before.
Yeah. Kind of spontaneous platforms of relevance.
I've been thinking of starting on my own live stream, but I'm like what we've been talking about, that identity of self and that identity of just being is something that I have a challenge with. Like, if I was to start a live stream, do I just present myself, just start talking, don't say who I am or what I am doing? Like, I can't even say I'm a monk or anything. I haven't had any of those practices, but I'm aware about them. I've looked into Buddhism, all sorts of things, big and obvious. Yeah.
Well, you never know, but I'm happy to charge you a bunch of money for a live streaming consulting fee, for sure. But I think it's more collaborate, because it depends on how much you want to do. Like what you described about sitting with the Aboriginal elder and kids coming up and spitting on him and doing things like that. I mean, that's really good stuff. That's really revolutionary, you know, hardcore stuff. And I'd say we need people who are willing to get more training. We need people who are more willing to prioritize being around elders rather than teaching their own thing. Not to discourage you to try to do that and try to share, but you have to deepen what you're concerned with. You have to deepen what your causal links inside of your psychology and inside of yourself are concerned with. And you only really get that through sustained exposure.
Yeah.
So being willing to go to, you know, a meditation center or monastery or different things like that is very important. Or willing to join for the Australia trip, or just willing to join in live streams more often. And
Will you be coming down to Victoria at any point?
I think we were in Victoria, but I think the next destination will probably be Perth. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you visit the Camp Sovereignty when you were here?
I haven't visited many places, but we're going to be going to, I saw the Sydney Opera House, and we're going to be going to the Aboriginal campout today. We're on our way there.
Yeah, which camp out is it?
I don't know, but it's outside of Adelaide, a few hundred kilometers outside of Adelaide.
I know of this one where they effectively set up a fire and have been there for years in protest of the Carmichael mine or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's amazing how they can just
Do you know
get
about
out.
that, Lee? The fire mine protest? Camp out?
I know the fire at Parliament House in Canberra that was lit decades ago. My friend, the uncle, he lit that fire and it's still burning now. And that was lit, a long time ago. But we're going to align ourselves with people that were associated with Lizard Bites Back and the Save Lake Eyre for World Heritage. I don't know if you're familiar with people from that era, like Izzy Brown. Do you know who Izzy Brown is?
That sounds familiar.
Well, we're not going to see Izzy Brown because she's off doing her own thing, but we're going to go continue the work that she did with the people associated with that. I'm not affiliated with any organisation. I'm just going to pay my respect, and I've been involved in activist communities and I'm not really interested in that.
All right, Mike. Well, we're going to get back to the bush.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Thank
so
you for taking my call.
take care and keep in touch and be gay and marry, eh?
Very merry.
All right. See you, mate.
What a lovely place in the world.
That's what I'm saying. This, Australia.
Yeah, where we are, right here.
Yeah.
Incredible,
Have you
huh?
been to the Northern Territory?
You've been to
Have
the...
you been to the Northern Territory?
I have, yes. Yeah. I've been to Alice.
I used to work in all the communities around.
Oh, you went to the communities?
Yeah.
Oh.
All the other others.
Oh, wow. I went to protest.
You want Cyprus? Have you got?
Can you leave that? Yeah, I didn't have any food. I went to Alice to protest against the find out.
No trouble so far with the tooth, just a little bit of sensitivity to the cold. But this is also one of the Western things is we don't have an overarching context, like a cultural context for being concerned with awareness, or the subtleties of mind concerned with no afflictions, or viewlessness, or generosity. And because of that, we are very vulnerable to whatever energy is generated by being concerned with enlightenment or ending suffering, for that to then go into something out and become like a major outflow. And you're not going to get much success unless there's this continuous concern with the ending of attachment without all these extra outflows. And like my teacher is super involved with social work, and he encourages anyone to teach and share and do all kinds of things to help others, right? And all different activities, and starting new centers and animal shelters and all this activist work. But there's a continuous context of monasticism, of Buddhism, of meditation, of merit, of virtue, of cultivation, of wisdom, that everything is constantly kind of contained in. And as Westerners, we don't have that container. So we generate this energy, and then it's constantly going into this and that, and you know, it's a real juggling act. And the being concerned with enlightenment or the ending of suffering is to stop juggling. And whether you catch the balls or you drop them, it doesn't matter. Just stop. So we're going to be getting on our way pretty soon here. Getting the van packed up. This is not the famous blue van, this is just Lee's car, because the blue van is actually under construction. So she was hoping that it would be ready by now, but it's still under construction. It's cold, kind of a Montana vibe out here. So I think a lot of the work in coming together like this is being on the road together and being like in the way and in the midst together, and then forming this like potentiality of just being in communal relationship with one another, concerned with enlightenment. And that's when you can maybe build up a community center, and then slowly but surely things can naturally evolve into, you know, regular discussions about this topic or that topic, meditation and things like that. But the integration work of all these different apparent selves is some of the most important work to do, and doing that based on generosity and a willingness to self-sacrifice before you can really have any hope of, you know, doing like impact activities, like going out and protesting. Like what would a mindfulness and detachment protest look like? Well, first you have to build a community that's really concerned with the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, so that that energy and attention can be collected and focused, kind of like a mirroring glass starting a fire. And in a very real way, Buddhism is the gold standard for that. Buddhism is the gold standard in human history for building community that's solely focused on enlightenment. You know, and having the conversation of what is the relevance of enlightenment when it comes to the Aboriginals, well, that's an interesting conversation to have, but the conditions to have that conversation fairly requires a lot of mutual willingness and probably a lot of reparations as well, cultural and social reparations. Your very life can become a protest. Well, no, this is about not knowing. I'm the guy that knows about not knowing. How does that work? So it's kind of, we just show up and we pretend to talk about things and we pretend to take things seriously, but actually we're just looking for another outlet for our stupid fucking retarded ego. You see what I'm saying? So what I say to you, Sin Karate, is fuck you. Go and fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of here. Mind your own business. Dumb cunt. Yeah, I'm thinking that over the next year, I might settle down in Vietnam. I might be able to work out the visa there and see if I can't get a place that's somewhat amenable to having people come by and stay for a little bit over the next year, and then go from there. But it's 100% patience is so important. Kindness without patience is always superficial. He said this, she said that. Fuck you, shut up. Let it go. And if you can't let it go, let's talk about it. But if the whole talk about is based on your self-fixated idea of being right or the other person being wrong, then we're just talking about who's right and who's wrong. And that's just about who has the bigger weapon, who has the more advanced technology to destroy. And this isn't about destroying. This is about giving the blessing of the ending, of thinking entirely. And if you're not interested in that, fuck off. You know, what are you going to do? Enslave me? You're going to punish me? You're going to torture me? It's very dangerous to punish people. Something Master Yong Hua was talking about recently. So I don't consider me calling Sin Karate a dumb cunt any kind of punishment. It's just like a slap on the wrist or a little bit of a shout. And actually we have to learn to do that with our own minds as well. Like maybe you're working on NoFap or you're working on not watching porn. So then you do that. That's not ideal, but it happens, and then you don't punish yourself for that. You give that element of yourself that wants to dwell in suffering a little bit of a shout or a little bit of a slap on the wrist that says, shut the fuck up, relax. I'm not a bad person, I'm not hurting anybody. Why am I so open to perpetuating suffering? Huff, shush, and relax. Because that punishment cycle is going to keep you stuck in the coping mechanisms that led you to want to punish yourself in the first place. because in a certain sense, you're too open to punishing yourself. You're too open to being afflicted. When you actually start to look at the suffering outside of your conditionality of the story of your life, you say, fuck all, I don't want to suffer. I don't care what I do. I don't care what anybody does. I don't want to suffer. That's not what I'm interested in. That's not what my life is going to be about. All right, everybody, let's get some big W's in the chat. We're going to start wrapping up and getting back to the road trip. All my love. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. You know, this is really a blessing. This is really a, you know, it's not for sure that we'll always be able to do this. So being together alive right now is such a gift and such a blessing. So, you know, really gratitude. Even if we feel suffering or we don't feel pleasure, that gratitude can still be there. The gratitude can be there in the loss or the unidealness, because that's the suffering that the Buddha pointed to. That's the First Noble Truth. No need to Y, no need to W, no need to X, no need to Y, no need to Z. Good day.
The Aboriginal people.
Oh, really?
Northern Territory and
Oh.
WA. They gave me the number, so I'm in the phone.
In Wa. That's such a good name, right? Wa.
Yeah.
So-
Wa means crow. That
Means
means
crow.
in Aboriginal.
Oh, all right.
In Arabanga.
Yeah.
So very grateful. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Many blessings. Travel safe.
Okay.
Love my life.
All right. Take it easy, y'all. See you at the original camp in maybe 6 hours or so. Starlink permitting. All right. Goodbye. You want to sing a song to say goodbye to everyone before we get on?
My favorite song?
Yeah.
Okay. The sun, it shines on my face and on my eyes. The sun, it shines in my heart. The sun, it shines in my heart. The river, it flows from From the mountain to my toes, the river it flows in my heart. The river it flows in my heart. Everybody! 1, 2, 3. From the mountain to the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. The trees, they sway and give oxygen every day. The trees, they sway in my heart. The trees, they sway in my heart. The birds, they fly as an elephant walks by. The animals, they're all in my heart. The animals, they're all in my heart. Everybody! 1, 2, 3. From the mountain, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a place for everyone in my heart. There's a home for everyone in my heart. There's a place for everybody in my heart.
Bye, everybody. See ya. See you soon.